Joining us via phone this morning from Washington, D.C., our good friend, Congressman Louie Gohmert. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. Great to be talking to you.
I appreciate you doing this. Listen, last time we talked, the president was about to give the speech. He's now given the speech. I would like to have your reaction, sir.
Well, I got a copy of the bill as soon as it became available. In fact, my office and I all were harassing the White House to try to get a copy because, he had said pass this bill now several days before. So we thought, well, if he wants us to pass it, surely he's going to at least allow something in writing before we pass it,
Yeah.
It's really a good idea to have a bill if you're going to pass it. And so, anyway, we finally got it, and I spent all of the night before last going through the bill. And it's not quite what he thinks it is. Somebody pulled a real switcheroo on him. He gave a great speech, but like he was going to go after big oil. Well, it turns out he didn't go after big oil because the hits, and there are no, he says repeal oil subsidies. A subsidy, by definition, is a grant or a gift of money. These aren't subsidies, they're deductions. They're deductions of the cost of doing business like any other manufacturer can take. You have the deduction of the intangible drilling costs. That's eliminated. Well, that doesn't hurt big oil because if you produce more than 1,000 barrels of oil, which all of the big ones do a lot more than that, you're not allowed to take that deduction. It only helps the independents that comprise most of the drilling in East Texas, Louisiana, really most of the drilling across the continental U.S. So you eliminate that, deduction for tertiary injectants, eliminate the depletion allowance deduction, and this is the real killer. People in East Texas understand you can't go to the bank and get a loan to drill a well. The big ones, Exxon, British Petroleum, they don't get loans to drill wells. They get loans that for business, but they're capitalized. It's the independents that do most of the drilling in the U.S. and hire all of the secondary groups, the subcontractors. They have to rely on regular business folks to invest in particular wells, and then they get a working interest. Well, he is repealing the oil and gas working interest exception to passive activity rules, which the effect would be to help dry up any capital being contributed to drill independent wells. So this, not only is it not what he represented, a hit against big oil, it will ultimately be a massive help to big oil. It'll drive the independents that employ so many tens or hundreds of thousands around the U.S., it'll drive them out of business. And so the big guys are all that are left, and it will really devastate the economy. Now, there is one provision that I have to agree with him, is a jobs bill, and that's for plaintiffs' attorneys that may not have enough work because at page 129 of the bill, we all know, of course, that it is unconstitutional to discriminate against people on the basis of race, creed, color, national origin, religion, and, of course, sexual orientation has now been added. Well, this bill adds a new protected status called unemployed. And so if you're unemployed and you apply for a job and you think you're discriminated against because you're unemployed, then you should see a lawyer because you're going to be able to file a claim against that employer for discriminating against you for being unemployed. So that'll be a real help to lawyers that need additional clients. It's going to be a good help there. And if you liked Freddie and Fannie, you're going to love this at page 40, the American Infrastructure Financing Authority. This doesn't just provide a little pittance for infrastructure, which is all it does, in my opinion. We set up a whole new bureaucracy, the American Infrastructure Financing Authority, and that'll help control all that. It's great. That is a jobs bill. Lots and lots more government. Actually, it's a private government corporation like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were. And then, of course, there are a lot of people that were concerned. They wanted the FCC to be able to control everything on radio and television better. And, they haven't gotten the fairness doctrine through, that kind of thing. And they, some people feel like they need to have the government should control the airways a lot better and get conservatives off the air. Well, not to worry. Airwaves are going more and more to broadband. Well, there was a mutual agreement across the party lines, across the House and Senate, that we could sell more broadband spectrum. This allows that in his bill, but it also creates a new government bureaucracy, a private, again, nonprofit corporation that's government control, wholly owned, called the Public Safety Broadband Corporation. So there's a bunch of laws in his jobs bill that will create more government jobs and let the government basically micromanage broadband. So it's a win-win if you want lots more government. Everything in it just screams lots more government control, and so they're good stuff. If you like more government, you're just going to love this bill.
So the bottom line is that this jobs bill is really a government jobs bill.
It appears there's more government jobs here than private sector jobs. Like I say, when you dry up the independent oil drilling and you eliminate all of those, private jobs, it doesn't just affect those particular people that have lost their jobs. It will spike up the price of oil and gas. People are going to have to end up paying more at the gas pump because he's driven out the independents. And, the big guys, they will sometimes invest in independent oil drilling, like in East Texas and Louisiana, Oklahoma, but they don't normally go do the drilling themselves. That's independents. They're more concerned about the big, massive fields and things. And also going after the tertiary injection can affect the fracking, which is how we went from having just a small number of years of natural gas reserve to having hundreds of years of reserve. So it takes a shot at providing more natural gas. It's just, I understand when you've been a community organizer for your whole living, you may not understand. You can't just pass a law and tell everybody to start hiring folks. You've got to create an environment in the economy where people feel safe investing their capital in new businesses and expansions of business, and it's having the opposite effect. And once you read through this, you understand why the stock market would go down the day after his speech instead of going up.
Wow. All right, well, give us a point of action. What can we do to help stop this, again, another attempt at a government takeover of our economy?
People need to email, they need to get on the phone, call the White House, call their senators. For people I represent, I've read through the whole bill. You don't have to let me know, but actually it helps even when people agree with me and I represent them. It helps if they let me know so that I don't get massive numbers of people that don't understand the bill and they're blasting me to vote for it anyway. So just let your lowly local legislative representatives like me know how you feel about this stuff. Oh, and we just had this huge fiasco out in California where the Obama administration put pressure and rushed through $500 million in loans to the solar company Solyndra. Mm-hmm. Well, you'll be glad to know that throughout this bill, you have constant requirements that all priorities got to go to the green practices like those of Solyndra. So you're bound to have a whole lot more Solyndras come up under this wonderful president's job bill that some refer to as saving Obama's job bill. But it'll make a lot of his constituent base really pleased. But as far as helping the economy, it is a disaster.
Well, Congressman Louie Gohmert, you're a great friend to all conservatives and Tea Party folks, and thank you for joining us, man. I appreciate it.
It is my pleasure, Jeff.
Thank you, sir.